Hi, it's that fantasy chick. Welcome back. It's another stream, another Wednesday stream. And this week, this, this today is going to be all about the X Files. I have been rewatching X Files since it's on Freebie. We're in the 30th, this year is the 30th anniversary X Files, of the X Files, it's their 30th year anniversary. So, and it's on freebie. So I've been rewatching it. I'm down to season 1, episodes 13 through 18. But before I start talking about my rewatch, I have there is obviously they wrote some books about the X Files. They call them the Case Files. And from what I understand, it seems like they're basing it off of the episodes. Let me go to the article to make sure. Here's the article. Okay. Okay. So the X Files, the official archives, is getting an alien-focused sequel. So they've had these a book before, and this is like a second book. IO9 talks to author Paul Terry about Volume 2 of his Case Files series, exploring the spooky, conspiracy-filled world of the beloved sci-fi show. No matter what you thought of the X Files' recent revival, the truth is out there that it remains one of the best loved sci-fi series ever. In 2020, IO9 got a chance to spotlight Paul Terry's wonderfully creative The X Files, the official archives. And today, on X Files creator Chris Carter, not Christ, but Chris Carter's birthday, no less, we're thrilled to share a bit about its sequel. Well, happy birthday, Chris Carter. Here's the official description for the book. An officially licensed, richly illustrated inside look at the case files of Mulder and Scully's encounters with the extraterrestrial activity and the Syndicate. Following the revelations of the cases declassified in the X Files, the official archives, cryptids, biological anomalies, and parapsychic phenomena, comes this vital second volume of top secret X Files. The X Files, the official archives, volume 2, extraterrestrial activity, and the Syndicate details agents Dana Scully and Fox Mulder's close encounters with alien beings and exposes the secrets of the shadowy syndicate. Featuring UFOs, little green men, and conspiracies to hide them from the public, These richly detailed and painstakingly recreated case files open up the X Files universe like never before. These vital cases serve as the backbone to the cult television series and provided a powerful through line and emotional lifeline for Agent Mulder. Now, through archival imagery and reports, fans can experience firsthand the thrills of some of the series' most beloved episodes, including Deep Throat, Jose Chung's From Outer Space, Fight the Future, Musings of a Cigarette Smoking Man, and many more. So here's the cover, the full cover. They make it look like a case file, confidential. And some information is redacted. So you have restricted, confidential. You have Fox Mulder, Dana Scully, some redacted information. That's actually kind of cute. I don't need to buy more books and I still have books that I have to read, but uh, I really am tempted to buy that book. I don't know whether or not. See, part of me just can't buy one book in a series. Since it's the second book, I'm like, I have to buy the first book in the series as well. So if it was just one book, I'd probably just go ahead and buy the one book. But since it's two, now I'm like, so many decisions to make. But we'll see. We'll make a decision. Okay. So on to the rewatch. So in these 6 episodes, I finally got to the episode that I have been waiting for forever, and that is the introduction of the lone gunman. Is that yes, the lone gunman? But that wasn't until episode 17, and that was when Mulder has his own little deep throat who basically feeding him information so he can control Mulder. He's like, we could kick him out of the FBI, but that would just make him go harder. Or I can feed him the information that we want to give to him and send him off. So he spent this entire episode sending Mulder off, and and it took and even Scully got Mulder back on track. Crazy. So got him back on track, got him almost made it. They realized that they weren't the thing that they were following wasn't just a downed UFO aircraft. It was an actual alien body. So when they get to this restricted site and they get inside, the lone gunman helped them give them some clearance badges so they can get inside the restricted site, so they can sneak inside this government site. And but like they could only give them up to I don't understand. It was already fake, but they can only give them up to clearance 5, but the alien was in clearance 6. So they had to figure out how to get into clearance 6. And it ended up with Mulder just running in, running past security and running in anyway. And he ran all the way down, got caught, and then the deep throat was like, it's fine, let him go. because the whatever was there is gone. So, it was one of the first near misses, because there's many near misses with seeing alien bodies. So I, I can't remember what season they finally decided to commit to what these aliens were supposed to look like. But there were a lot of near misses with aliens, and there will be a lot of times where he would just miss seeing with what an alien would look like. So this is one of the first. Um, but so that was yeah. So that was the only episode dedicated to the whole um, UFO overall lore, that the whole overall conspiracy lore. Everything else was a monster of the week. And one of the monsters of the week was Chucky, or shall I say, the voice of Chucky. But he also, Chucky, I guess the guy, the soul of Chucky was a criminal. So this guy, he's playing somebody on death row. So I was like typecast, but he's playing a psychic. He's pretending to be a psychic so he can try to get off death row, pretending, saying, "Oh, well, if I tell you where these kidnapped kids are, will you get me off death row?" And Mulder, in this episode, Mulder is the skeptical one, was like, he is not a psychic. And Scully, whose father just died, all of a sudden wants to believe. She is willing to believe this dude on death row, but never believes Mulder, and that straight pissed me off. But Mulder was they flip flop. Mulder was the skeptic throughout the episode, and Scully was the one listening to this dude and following his leads. And Mulder was like, he knows where they are because he's working with the guy, and they even found a connection between him and the kidnapper. So there's like, he's working with him. That's why he knows where to find them. That's why he knows where all these clues are. But the Scully still found some reason to believe that he has some psychic powers or whatnot, you know, but she wanted him to uh, reach out so she can talk to her father, and he was like, "I ain't talking to nobody until I get off death row." And so then when so of course that didn't happen. So then he wanted her to come to his execution, and then he'll be like, well, I'll tell you what your father says at my execution. And then when the execution comes and they open up the blind so they can see the people in the room, and she's not there, he's just devastated. Devastated that she was not there. she decided I she finally decided, um, that she wasn't going to give him what he wanted, because he was just playing with. Because like she decided he was finally decided that he was fake, and then of course the moment she decided that he was a fake, then Mulder was like, "Well, after everything you've seen." It's like, Mulder, you never believed this dude was real. The moment she got on your side and was like, no, he's a total fake. Now you're like, well, after everything you've seen, you don't believe? Mulder, make up your mind. Are you going to be a skeptic today, or are you going to be the one who believes? Um, then the next monster of the week is they did this thing with this this group that was kind of like the Amish. They lived, they lived off by themselves. They don't live with any modern technology or anything like that. But somebody ran away from the group and is going around killing people. But what they would do is they have the ability, this group has the ability to change from one sex to the other. So they would go out and they would pick up men as a woman and have sex with them. And by the time it was over, they done flipped over and became a man. And somehow they never explained how having sex with them poisoned them, but somehow in having sex with them, they're able to poison them. They poison the men by having sex with them. I still don't. They never truly explained that part. They just explained that they were killing them somehow and that they were switching genders. But they did not explain how how exactly the murders were happening. So, but Mulder and Scully never got a chance to arrest them because the group was like, we take care of our own. The group came and scooped him up before they can arrest him. And he they went back and they got their police back up and went back to their little compound, and they were gone. And so then they showed them off, and it was like, oh, go off into the fields. There's something, you guys see this in the fields. And it was a crop circle, which uh, was like basically hinted at the fact that they might be aliens and they might have taken off in a spaceship. So they hinted at the fact that they may be aliens because they also had this supernatural strength. They had this supernatural strength. They could switch back and forth between the genders, and having sex with them could somehow poison people, and they died naturally. Well, died from the poison or whatnot. But crazy. And then there was an episode where Scully was helping out this FBI agent that she used to date, and he was trying to bring down this bank robber duo, and he had been following them for some time, so they had got, I guess, some kind of lead that they were going to be robbing this bank at this time, so they were waiting inside for them. And then one of them comes in, and they basically had him. It was Scully had a gun on him, he had a gun on him, but he pulls out his gun and he shoots the bank robber, shoots the FBI agent anyway. But the moment he shoots him, and then Scully just takes him down, bang, 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 shoots him dead. So they both go to the same hospital. They're in the same sort of crash unit, and they're both being worked on at the same exact time, and they both sort of flatline at the same time. But Scully was in the room with the FBI agent, and she refused to accept that he was dead. So when they were like, they tried to call, call it like, okay, he's dead. And she was like, no, I'm a doctor. You know, do it again. Like, shock him again. Give him some more whatever they give him, and then shock him again. And she just kept doing it until he came back. Well, it turns out it was the bank robber. Somehow the bank robber's consciousness got into the FBI agent's body. And she did not realize this at first. But of course, Mulder being Mulder was like, that ain't your friend. Something's up with him. Something's wrong with him. And he was like, this dude is left-handed, your friend was right-handed. You said you and your friend had the same birthday. This dude didn't know when your birthday was. I asked him to sign a birthday card for you. The signature is different from the signature he had on his form signing out his FBI card or whatnot, requisition car, requisition form for a car. The signature was different. So he lined up all this evidence, and Scully was like, she had an answer for everything. Blah 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 blah. No, you're wrong, Mulder. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. Until finally she and Home Dude chase down his partner, who is the bank robber's wife. And after they chase her down and corner her, then he basically handcuffs Scully. And Scully's like, what you handcuffing me for? And then he starts talking to the woman and does everything to convince her that he's the bank robber. So then she realizes, oh, so you are my husband. But even Scully, hearing all this, still refuses to believe it was the bank robber. She's Scully. She still refused. Sitting there with the dude and the woman going back and forth, still refused to believe. Still refused to believe. So that so that episode ended because that dude, he kept drinking pops. He's like, I'm not feeling too good. And she's like, that's because you're diabetic and you about to go into a diabetic shock. You should have been drinking all this pop. So he goes and he robs a store and gets some insulin. But before Scully can shoot him up, the wife was like, nah, we gonna let him die. Because she was like, who do you think gave the police the lead? Or it's like, how do you think I got away so cleanly? I gave them the lead. I wanted you to get caught so I can take the money and run. So she had uh basically turned on him and was going to turn on him again. Crazy. But in the end, he because Scully was messing with the dude's consciousness, was like, oh, you remember we went to the cabin and blah 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 blah. So it was like this dude's consciousness was coming back and in and out, in and out. So he was going back and forth between bank robber and this guy. But at the last moment, the bank robber consciousness came back, shot his wife, and it was the last thing he did before he finally dies of the diabetic shock or whatnot, because of drinking all that soda. Soda will kill you, apparently. So Yeah. And even though she lived through all of that, still didn't believe in what she saw. It's amazing the things that Scully has seen and experienced, and she's still a skeptic. Um, next is one that confused the hell out of me. Um, it's well, it didn't confuse me so much as I guess I wasn't really paying. I must not have been paying attention, but there was this guy who another criminal that Mulder had got locked up back when he was a young FBI agent, I guess, and or younger FBI agent, and he you know, because of his testimony on the stand, the judge gave this guy a very long, very long sentence, so he would never get out of jail. Um, well, it turns out he supposedly died in jail, but very recently, a what do you call, there was a robbery at a store, and a note was left that was very similar to something that he said that the criminal would say to Fox Mulder. And they was like, this is something that only he would have said to me, but he's supposed to be dead. And so they looked. Turns out he was not dead. He was being experimented on. And then they were like, yeah, he was being experimented on. This other inmate who saw the day that he supposedly died, he saw him and he was like, no, he's still alive. I saw him. But I also saw them, they had chopped off his hand, his right hand, and they had a handwriting analysis expert say that the note was written by somebody right-handed. So he was trying to figure out, how did that happen? They grew another hand. But also, this guy was older, and somehow they made him younger. They did this fountain of youth experiment on him, made him younger. So now they don't know what he looks like. So they're trying to catch him, but they don't know what he looks like. So they try to age down his age down a sketch of him and do all these little things. But eventually, did they get him? Oh yes, they find out that he he murdered the doctor who did all the experiments on him, and he stole his research. And the government knows he's going around killing all these people and doing all these crimes, but they don't care. They want that research. So they're negotiating with this dude to give him what he wants so they can get that research. And Mo just like, he's going around killing people, and he is still threatening to kill all my friends and me. But government don't care. They want what they want. So I think a friend of Scully's had a cello concert or whatnot. So they all knew that he was going to be at that concert. So they spread out with the little age down sketches of him. and we're looking for him, but he ends up shooting Scully, but Scully had a bulletproof vest on. And then he runs into the theater, the auditorium, and he gets the friend who's on the stage practicing her cello, and gets her as a hostage. And he knew one of the things that had happened before was, Motor had played it by the book and did not shoot him before, or did not shoot him right away because he had a hostage, and you're not supposed to shoot somebody when they had a hostage. Blah, 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 blah. But that dude had the hostage and started shooting other people, even though he had the hostage. So then Motor then shot him, took him down after he ended up killing a couple of people and injuring another person. So he just knew that Motor wasn't going to shoot him because he had a hostage. Motor shot him dead. So, and the location of that research died with him. So they did this thing where it was like, oh, we don't know where that research, if we'll ever find that research. And they just kept going, following one person and following one thing and just going, like that research could be anywhere. And then they go to this bus station and they show this one little locker at the bus station. And it's like, we will never know if they'll ever be found. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, somebody's gonna find that research. It won't take long to figure out that he got a key at a bus station. He got a locker. All they have to do is check all the lockers, and they'll find the research. They're obsessed enough to do it. And finally, another religious episode, but this one is about the making fun of tent preachers, those little, tent revival preachers. And he had a son who could perform miracles. But the last few miracles that he performed, people were dying from them. So the sheriff called in Scully and Mulder to try to get them to prove how he was causing these murders. Because he was like, oh, he did it. It's not a matter of who, it's a matter of how. All we need to do is prove how he did it, and then we can put him in jail. So they went about investigating and looking into trying to get the bodies, because they did not get autopsies, because the medical examiner is a member of the church and wouldn't do an autopsy. I'm like, that does not sound like, that don't sound like right. You not gonna do your job, you get fired. but they wouldn't do autopsies. I'm like, if the sheriff said this is suspicious death, then they should be getting autopsies, whether or not the medical examiner won't do it or not. They ought to bring somebody else in to do an autopsy. But either way, Dana Scully was going to do the autopsy, but then the church people came to do a vigil in the cemetery to keep them from digging up the people's graves. So, but somebody else eventually died, and they convinced her parents to let them do the autopsy. So they autopsied her and figured out how she died and figured out she was poisoned. So they was like, okay, is not the miracle. It's not the kid, the miracle kid, because she was actually poisoned. So so the person who ended up being the real killer was somebody who the miracle boy had brought back to life like 10 years earlier. He he was caught in the fire, burns all over his body, had died in the fire. But he went and they prayed over his body and was did all that he could and brought him back and raised him from the dead. But because, he was mad that the little boy brought him back from the dead, because I guess he felt he didn't like, you know, he had to get skin grafts all over his body and he had to wear a wig, and he, it you could just tell that was something was off by the way he did not look normal. The skin grafts did not he still looked like a burn victim basically. And so he he basically was like, why would you bring me back so so I can live like this, blah 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 blah. Poor old me. I was dead and you brought me back to life. You should have left me dead. So because you were mad at him for not leaving you dead, you're gonna kill other people. But his main thing was he didn't want to just he didn't just want to give him a bad name. He wanted to kill the belief around the boy. So if people started dying around him, that would kill off the belief around him, and then he wouldn't be able to help nobody else. But the boy ended up dying, and his ghost came back and haunted him. Like, like is crazy. It was an X File. So his ghost came back and haunted him. So before they could arrest him, before they could arrest him, he had took his own poison because he was so scared of that boy. He was so scared of that boy's ghost. He took his own poison. But at first, I thought he had arranged the boy's death because they were like, because they had mentioned that maybe some of the police were were a part of the church, because that's how they found out about them digging up the bodies to do the autopsies, because they must have some police in the precinct must have told the church about it. So I thought that he arranged for the boy's death because the boy was in jail and he died in jail. But it turns out it was the sheriff. The sheriff arranged for the boy's death. And he got caught. He got caught and he got arrested, but not before his wife, who was in a wheelchair, was like, well, wait a minute. When she saw the article in the newspaper about who really was who really was doing all the murders, who really murdered those people, she was like, but wait a minute, was it such and such a, wasn't that boy, he was just a fake and a phony, right? Right? So I'm guessing that was to imply she was stuck in this wheelchair and he wouldn't let her go see the little miracle boy so she could walk again because he didn't believe in him. So he wouldn't let her go get healed because he was a fake and a phony. And she was thinking, all this time I could have been walking, but you held me back, and now the boy is dead because you murdered him. That was kind of a cold that was kind of a cold-blooded episode. That was something else. That was something else. But that was something else. But yeah, so that was the last episode. Uh the last few. This, I looked it up. This season has 23 episodes. Boy, and they don't do that any longer. It's like, well, yeah, I guess they do like 22, but 23 episodes. So I will be doing the last, next Wednesday will be the last of the season 1 episode. So 19 through 23. And then the Friday is another Game of Thrones video. Working on that. And then Monday will be another, we'll be talking about Loki because tomorrow is another episode. It'll be the 3rd episode of Loki. So Monday we'll be talking about Loki, and next Wednesday more X-Files. Oh, but then I forgot Friday, Upload comes back. So I will be watching Upload all weekend. So I don't know. I'm gonna be talking about Upload either Monday or Wednesday. One of those days I'm gonna be talking about Upload. One of those days. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Monday or Wednesday we'll be talking about Upload because I'm gonna be watching that. That's gonna be my weekend. I'll upload. I may miss X-Files if I'm watching Upload all weekend. So maybe I'll talk about Upload on Wednesday. So get my Amazon Prime trial back so I can watch that, and a whole list of things I'll finally get to watch. The Rings of Power so I can see for myself if it's as bad as everyone makes it out to be, and a bunch of other movies and things that I've been wanting to see. So, so Thursday Loki, Friday Upload, and I shall see you again next Monday. But in the meantime, thanks for watching.